Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at a deck that I've been seeing a lot in the online scene, and that is Dragapult Blaziken. This is actually a deck I was experimenting with way before rotation happened, and I must admit I was quite disappointed with it because of the meta at the time. It was quite an unfavored meta for it. And well, now that we have post rotation, it's been doing the rounds, and what I thought, well, there's a lot of it around. I'll make my own take and see what I can come up with. So as per usual, in the description below there's going to be usual links to the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. There's the games that we'll play and the outro and what I think of the deck, as well as a link to my Discord server should you wish to join it. So of course, once again, we're taking a look at the big bad Dragapult. It feels like, I think I've got like 8 videos on Pults, more like Pult variants, and good reason for that, because Dragapult is just that good. And, well, don't worry, I'll be covering different variants of Dragapult post-rotation. You know, Dragon Dusk, my Terrabox version, which I'm really proud of that. Probably take a look at Straight Pult as well. Straight Pult's been doing quite well, but I'll see, because obviously we have upgraded to 4 gameplay videos a week, plus the Sibling Sunday. Obviously, if you would have seen the post from a couple of weeks before, you would know that. But, yeah, we're going to be going up to 4 gameplay videos of decks throughout the week. It will be Monday, Wednesday. Well, in fact, it will be probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I'll decide either Tuesday or Thursday. I've not fully decided yet as of time of recording, but what that means is it gets us more gameplay, but also means I can cover more decks, because there's a lot of decks I want to cover. But of course, we do have Dragapult in this deck, but we also have one of my favourite cards and Pokemon, that being Blaziken. Obviously, we have Blaziken EX. This is a really good card anyway. I'm kind of surprised it's not seeing more play, if that makes sense. Like, I'm kind of surprised at it. Obviously, Rare TCG did a video on Regice with this card, and I was really impressed. It's a shame he didn't play the Fire Energy, because it would have really benefited him in that video. But I'm sure you could probably take his list from that video and, added a couple of fires. But Blaziken EX obviously covers fire types. Obviously, we do have a single prizer that can do it. But yeah, this is a really good card. And obviously, we can attach basic energy from our discard pile, so there's no special energy, no Neo Upper, no nothing like that. And we basically get to attach it freely across our board. Additionally, after some deliberation and thought, I've chucked in the single prize Blaziken from Destined Rivals, with the Inferno Kick Flurry attack for 120, 2 fire and a colourless this costs. We're not too bothered about the first attack, but we can use it. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack also does 120 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. As you can imagine, that's pretty good. And we will try and use this. It can be quite awkward, but excuse me. It can be a little bit awkward, but obviously it's a really good single prize option. We also have Budew, 2 copies of Budew to obviously, buy us a little bit of time whilst we're setting up our board. And, well, not many lists are playing the Moltres, so I thought I'll just chuck it in as a single prizer. I have upgraded the fire count to 4 to obviously accommodate for the Moltres, but also Blaziken, because obviously it does take 2 fire and a colourless, so it can be quite costly, but I've accommodated that reasonably well at least. And then, of course, we have added a little Clefairy as well, and 2 Munkidori. So this list has been really fun, but obviously there's still some things I might want to change about it. I'm not too sure yet, but let's go to the deck list and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This is pretty similar to some of the lists you might have seen running around the online scene. To be honest, a lot of it I based off my old Dragapult Blaziken that I used a while back. Obviously added in some new things, some cards that I think make sense in this list. And just really took the list from there, to be honest. Like, there's not really a lot that I need to, add to this list from, previous time I used this deck. Obviously, the only thing that is, a little bit of a concern is obviously we're only really doing 200 damage. But obviously, Dragapult spreads 6 damage counters. And then, of course, we have Munkidori to help with that. We also have 3 boss in this list, so I'm not too worried about the damage output. Previously, the Dragapult Blaziken that I played just wasn't hitting hard enough, and yeah, we had the fire type coverage of Blaziken against, stuff like Goldengo, Teal Mask Ogre-Pot, but ultimately it just felt a little bit lackluster. But obviously in the post-rotation format where we are now, this deck's been doing really well, and I kind of based it off a few different lists. So of course we've leaned into the Dragapult line, as you can see, with a 4-4-2. 4 Dreepies, 4 Drakloaks, 2 Dragapults. I don't think you need a third Dragapult, I'll be brutally honest. I think we have enough attackers in this list, to be brutally honest with the list in general. You could play a third pull. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't, but I don't really see a reason why you need to. But something to think about. Then, of course, 2 Torchics, and I said Torchics then, that's just tongue twist. 1 Combusken, 2 Blaziken EX, and of course the single prize Blaziken as well. 2 Budews, 2 Munkidoris, 1 Clefairy, 1 Meowth. Thought I'd add a Meowth in, just because why not. 1 Fez, and of course the Moltres. Then of course 4 Lillies, 3 Boss, 2 Dawn, 1 Crispin, just to help get us energy out of the deck, to be honest. It's extra thinning and all that. 1 Team Rocket's Petrel, 2 Cherry Picker A-Spec. 4 Buddy Poffin, 3 Ultra Ball, 2 Poké Pad, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Rare Candy, 1 Unfair Stamp as our A-Spec. 2 copies of Risky Ruins, this just helps us move Munkidori math around. 4 Fire Energy, 3 Psychic Energy, and 2 Darkness Energy. To be honest, in testing, this deck's been really solid. I can definitely see why it's seeing a lot of competitive success. My only really gripe with it is, like I said, Fire type coverage is good, but at the same time, it's like, if you're not playing this single prize Blaziken, you're not getting too much value out of the Blaziken EX. And, we could add in more attackers. We could add second Clefairy. We could add, Blood Moon Ursaluna for the late game. There's a lot of room, I think, to grow this list attacker-wise. But consistency-wise, I don't think you really need to change much. Like, maybe a second Crispin. That could be something. Because obviously we do rely on, getting energy either in a discard pile. So we could even play 4 Ultra Balls. I've gone with 3. I think there's a lot that we could explore with this list, and, I think it's a list that we should keep an eye on, in the post-rotation format. Anywho, let's get into a match and see how we do. And welcome to our first game. I'm looking forward to seeing how this deck does. I've not really been playing the ladder too much, obviously I'm in Greninja rank as of the last video. And to be honest, it's been fun, obviously we did the Raging Bolt post-rotation. There are a few Dragapult variants I want to take a look at post-rotation. But honestly, I've been really enjoying it. I've also been noticing my Terabox post-rotation deck video has actually been doing quite well in terms of views. And I'm pretty happy with that, I didn't expect it to hit that, but to be fair, putting post-rotation in the title seems to do the trick, so, But no, obviously we hit 100 subscribers, last couple of weeks, and I'm pretty impressed with that as well. And, I've been enjoying the Pokemon content. It's nearly been 9 months since I started doing it, so I'm pretty happy with myself. So we're going second, and we're starting a Budew. That's nice. I do like to see that. And it is a Team Rockets deck, so this is going to be quite tough, because we don't really have an answer to Team Rockets or Articuno outside of gusting it. And there's a Dreepy, that's at least something. Obviously, Tarantula can just take down and knock us out, but we'll worry about that later. I think we can just Petrel for, a Buddy Poffin, get some Dreepies set up. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm just going to attach Pass. Could we donk them? I don't think we can. No, not off the top of my head, because Moltres would only be doing 40 damage here, so we can't donk them. So yeah, I'm going to bench Monkey. I'll Dawn, grab a Dreepy, Drakloak, and what else should I grab? I mean, I'll just grab a pole. It's fine. We'll do a prize check later. We don't need to do it now. It's not a major deal. As long as I get a turn attachment onto my Dreepy, I'm not too worried. And then, yeah, we're just going to Itchy Pollen. See, if I had Moltres, and Moltres did 30 damage base, and did like 80 plus, we'd be able to take game with just a single attack. But, to be fair, we'd need a Fire Energy. And obviously, we don't have Psychic and Dark. And they're just going to take down. Okay. That's fine by me. We could actually win here with Dreepy with Bite, which would be hilarious, is all I'll say. And we get double Drakloak, and they're just going to immediately scoop it up. Fair enough, I don't blame you. Getting item locked is a bit horrendous when that deck, specifically recently anyway, has been relying on the likes of Bug Catching set. Pretty impressive start, Budew's doing its job, and well, we likely could have been able to find a knockout with that, so I'm pretty happy with that. So, let's go to a game 2. And well, that's the start I like to see, but, well, knowing my luck, it's not going to get any better, but we'll see. you know, Budew's in here to do that exact job. So, you know, it's one of those things, like, that the deck has so many different options in, like, the early game. I'm pretty happy to, you know, accommodate for that. And to be fair, like, we had double Drakloak draw plus Petrel. We could have digged for what we needed. Probably the only thing that this list could maybe benefit from is an energy search. But then you'd have to take out Crispin, and Crispin could be quite useful. But, I don't know. Let's see what we start. We start another Budew. But we don't have a whole lot else going on in this hand. We're going second. Yes, we are. Okay, that's fine. And it's Lucario. This could be tough, especially with this opening hand. We don't really have a lot going on. So let's see. We can at least get, you know, Munkidori Risky Ruins value, but yeah, I'm not happy with this, I'll be honest. He's going to get the Rocky Fighting Energy, but luckily Itchy Pollen is not an effect of an attack, at least to a Pokemon. It will still item lock him at the very least. There's a Poké Pad. Excellent. So we'll grab ourselves a Dreepy and prize check. We have got a Drakloak in hand, so nothing to worry about. And we've got all the chickens at least. We've got both Ports, both Blazikens. We've got one. Well, no, we've got two boss in hand, haven't we? Yes, we do. Excuse me. I've got two Buddy Poffin Enterprises. That'll be an issue later. And that's it, really. Not much to really, you know, write home about. I could boss the Lunatone and, like, you know, Itchy Pollen. I could even do the same to the Makuhita. I think we're going to do the Makuhita. Now I'll put Risky Ruins into play and then put Munkidori down. And then we'll Itchy Pollen. I think it makes sense to go for the Makuhita because Riolo can obviously just freely take out my Budew. Lunatone is only a 1 retreat cost, this is a 2. And of course he has the air balloon. Why would he not? And he even has the Lillies, just to rub it in my face. You don't love to see that. I mean, we are getting Fez draw at the very least, you know, that's something. But we could, if we draw into Crispin, we could go Munkidori into Riolu. That would be pretty funny. And yep, the Accelerating Stab. Crispin was in deck, but, well, with 44 cards, I don't think it's going to happen, Chief, but hey, you just got to believe. So we'll evolve there. Go to Fez. Fez first, because it's guaranteed 3. That's Dawn. Recon. That's a Lillie's. Yeah, that's fine. I'd love a Latias in this list, but it's not like, you know, an immediate priority. I need to get another Dreepy established, I'll tell you that for nothing. I can Ultra Ball away a Blaziken and a boss. I can do that comfortably. The thing is I'm not really doing a lot, like, at the minute. Like, I'm not really doing a lot. Like, we have no energy in the bin, so it's not really worth grabbing a Torchic. I could just grab another Drakloak, but then I'd get less value. I think I'd just take another Dreepy, because I can at least Lillies into fresh stuff and go from there. So I think that's fine. So we'll Lily's Determination. And we do get some stuff, but not great stuff. I will bench the Torchic, though, because that could be relevant later. And I'll pass. So this soon-to-be Lucario doesn't even need a damage boosting tool or a damage booster to actually take out this monkey because of Risky Ruins. That's the only risk, and that's why I think this list, like, needs a way to get energy to play quicker. Like, I think it needs another Crispin. But, you know, that's just something to think about. Let's see what they do. They're probably going to have the Lucario in hand, which is fine. But obviously we just need to play around, you know, we just need to play around, you know, a potential Mega Brave plus Max Belt. Because having said that, actually, they have been playing Scoop Up Cyclone recently, which I don't agree with, I must admit. I don't know why people are playing Risky Ruins. There's the Power Pro, and there's the Lillies. They don't need a Power Pro, but I don't think they realise that. Poké Pad. Because obviously with the 20 ping, Munkidori's at 90 HP. Their, you know, their first Lucario's attack or a jab does 100 with resistance, so they can still do that. And it looks to me like they've whiffed. If that's the case, we could be in business here. And yeah, they've whiffed. That's very good. So let's get some Drakloak draw established. I need to Dawn, because then again, hold on. Is Dawning now correct? I think Dawning now is fine, because I can dig into a pole, I can grab candy. Well, I've got candy in hand, so I can do that with Blaziken. I can get another, well, in fact, I can get the Combusken thinned out. I'm not going to play the Combusken this turn. And then for basic, I'll just grab another monkey. So what I'm thinking is I go Rare Candy Blaziken. And then we Drakloak draw, see if we can hit a fire, retreat the monkey, Blaziken, you know, this, that, and the other. There's Stamp. We're not going to need that right now. Recon. Oh, this is not looking good. Recon. There's Moltres. I'd rather take the Lilies, to be brutally honest. We have whiffed, but that's not a big deal. What I wanted to do was, you know, find a fire, retreat the Munkidori, go into a pole, knock out this, and then they have no attackers. But unfortunately, we have whiffed. I mean, at least we get to stamp them, but that's going to be an issue as well, because now Blaziken is in Mega Brave range with no damage mods, so this could be an issue. And obviously, Accelerate and Stab won't do any damage, because, you know, resistance to Munkidori. He can obviously pop Power Pros, but that's a bit of a waste. There's Hariyama. He can go for the Fez. He's going to bring up Drakloak. Don't tell me you have Lucario in hand. I mean, it's not a big deal if you do. He's going to go for the Meowth. He's hoping to draw into it. Do you have Dawn, maybe? Or Hilda? No, a Lillie. He's hoping to hit it off the Lilies. That's a problem. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but with only one Blaziken established, this could get ugly, because obviously I can't, you know, retreat a Drakloak, and yeah, there's the Ultra Ball, so he's got it. I can't Ultra Ball, grab Clefairy, and then, you know, Clefairy this Lucario. I'd need Clefairy down on the board, and he'd probably just gust it anyway, so this isn't looking very good. My only hope now is if I can get Clefairy plus Crispin. But with losing a Drakloak, that is going to make things a little bit more tricky. I could also Mind Bend this, but then you can just retreat it in Mega Bravens. Well, you could just retreat it and go into Hariyama. Or his second Riolu. So I'll play it safe and promote the Drakloak. This isn't looking good. That's a Dreepy. So, I need to thin the deck. I can play Stamp, but Stamp doesn't get me it. So, I'll bench the Dreepy. I mean, I can play the Stamp now, and then start drawing cards, so I think it's fine. So, we'll play the Stamp now. Okay, there's an energy. We did need that. But we've only, you know, 2 recons and a thingamabob. It isn't looking great. That's at least something for Monkey, but we don't need that right now. Recon. We also need a pull as well, so we are asking a lot from deck, but, you know. Flip the script. Yeah, we've whiffed. This is not good. I mean, like I said, the only thing I can do is I can, you know, Monkey Door this. But I can't even do that because I promoted Drakloak. This is terrible. I'm just going to scoop it up. I think I'm too far behind. And, you know, the way we've been not getting, you know, we didn't even have an air balloon in the list, which is something not many of these lists are playing. I think we need a retreat option or a Latias or something, because, you know, not having the option to just, you know, free retreat, you know, getting retreats off and stuff like that, we was just a lot more limited. It felt a lot more clunky. So, I don't know. But unfortunate loss there to Lucario. I don't know how it is matchup-wise. I've not looked into the data, but, you know, when they've got when we are whiffing our pulse and obviously, you know, our attachments and stuff, can be really tricky. Let's go to game 3. Welcome back to game 3. That was an unfortunate loss to the Mega Lucario deck there. Kind of a shame, and this is kind of why I'm thinking a second Crispin would probably be worthwhile, you know, like, just having the extra option to go into your attackers a lot quicker than relying on Blaziken. I don't know. Or maybe just another way to discard a card, you know? Things like that. It just feels like, you know, this deck, if you don't, like, item lock your opponent and they don't really do anything after that, it kind of just feels like, you know, you're treading on eggshells is the word I would describe it. And this is kind of why I didn't cover this deck originally before rotation. Because, you know, we didn't have Lillie's Clefairy when I planned to obviously cover this deck. So that was another parting factor. You know, we're dealing with a lot of port mirrors and stuff like that. And they're starting a Kang. Okay, let's see what you got then, Chief. Kang tells me basically nothing, because a lot of decks are playing Kang. And they're just going to run errands straight away. No other cards played. Sure, that's your choice. That's quite excessive. But, yeah, this... I don't know what deck this is, because they're taking that long to slow play. Like, I can't really, you know, decipher what deck they're playing. Latias, that tells me nothing. It took you that long to decide grabbing a Latias. I mean, come on, man. You know, like, this is just disrespectful to your opponent. You know, I'm wanting to, you know, get stuff done as well. So, you know, chop chop. I ain't got all day. So we're going to go straight with that. That is fine. So we're going to go for a Buddy Poffin. We'll grab a Dreepy and a Budew. We have prized a Budew. That's fine. We've also got have we got a Drakloak in hand? No, so we prized that. Have we prized? Yeah, we prized one Torchic. That's fine. No Dawn's prize. We've got one Lillie's in hand. Stamps in there. Good. We have got a Candy in hand, so that's fine. We've got an Ultra Ball in hand, and we prized no energy. So that's good. So, I'd rather retreat... In fact, no, I'd rather retreat Psychic, because I'm fine with, obviously, Psychic being in there. I'll then play Lillies, so that way I can get, you know, stuff established. And there's Torchic. Excellent. We can also play the Buddy Poffin and get another Dreepy down. I want to save a bench space for Munkidori. So that's fine. And yeah, we're just going to Itchy Pollen. I think this is Mega Box. I'm not really too sure, but... You know, if you're angry about, you know, a Budew being in the deck, that's just too bad, you know. That's the way of the format, I'm afraid. Serrano, this is definitely Mega Box then. That does mean Kang is not attacking this turn, which is good for us, because we can get support, well, we can get set up and everything like that. Let's see what they grab. But yeah, like... This, I don't know how this matchup's going to go, because obviously we don't have Dust Noir, which is a compelling factor here. There's Mega Absol plus the Petrel. We can actually, you know, take out the Petrel for 2 prizes pretty easily. But obviously my only concern is obviously dealing with the Absol. Absol is quite a problem, and they didn't grab a Teal Mask, which something tells me they've not played this deck much, because they need a Teal Mask in play. You know, to obviously, you know, accelerate energy, energy switch. You know, this deck plays 4 energy switch, so, you know. But yeah, this is definitely something. There's Last Ditch Catch, so that's another 2 prizer we can go for later. That's fine by me. Obviously, realistically, I'd want the Petrel out of the way first. They're going to grab a Crispin, but obviously they've already Serrano'd for turn. So they're not really doing much, and it's like, why are you taking so long to do these basic actions? It's like, bruh. But sure. Anyway. Okay, there's a Pult, but that's not too relevant. So we're going to do that. Do I want to get this Psychic back in the deck? Not really, so I'm just going to play Lillies. See what we get after the Lillies. Oh, that's pretty bad. I can play this to thin it. Do I want to put out Risky Ruins? Not really, because that benefits them if they're getting monkeys established. Do I want to bench Fez? I could, but it's a risk of a 2 prize KO. So yeah, I'm just going to Itchy Pollen. I'm happy to do that. Whiffing, you know, whiffing what we've whiffed is annoying, but we can at least get a Pulse Swing next turn with a boss on that Petrel. Because then we can set up the Kang for, you know, a future... Well, in fact, we could even just hit the Kang now. It's not a big deal. You know, we can hit the Kang, set up the Latias, put a little bit on the Meowth as well. So then if we keep Phantom Diving and we consistently Phantom Dive, we should be fine. They're going to boss. Do they have an energy in hand? Because they've been doing some very questionable actions. You're bossing because you're... Okay, I mean, you got the energy, but that was a bit poorly done. You should have run errand first and then bossed. Because you could have whiffed that, but still. Yeah, good. Use your heads up. Use your heads lock. That's what I like to see. 500 damage to a poor little Dreepy. I mean, I'm just gonna give him the Budew because Budew's a free retreater, and it's the only free retreaters we have in this deck. There's a Poké Pad. We can use that to get a Drakloak, so that's good. So we'll evolve you, bench the Fez for 3 first, because obviously Fez is a guaranteed 3. There is a Blaziken, which is good for me. See, I can't Gust because the Petrel is what's impacting me here. Ooh, could I get both off? I'd need to check the deck though, so I can do that with Ultra Ball. So Ultra Ball away Risky Ruins. I'm not going to need Clefairy in this matchup. Was it in deck, the second candy? I didn't remember seeing it. There it is, yeah. So we could actually get Pult going now, because we had that Psychic in the discard pile. And I think that's my best option, is to Pult them now. So, it just means I'm not bossing for turn, but I'm not bothered about that. So we'll play the Petrel, grab the Rare Candy. We can then Rare Candy into the Pult. Then Rare Candy into the Blaziken. Seething Spirit, Psychic to the Dragapult, Turn Attachment to the Pult, and a big fat Phantom Dive. So we want 1 here, plus on the Absol. Because if I can make it so Phantom Dive and Absol, that's pretty good for me. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's see what we can do from here. That was a really good turn. That was a really solid turn. My only... obviously thing that I'm concerned about is if they have Munkidori to take out Budew. But if they do that, it's not a problem. Because then I can bench my own Monkey when they swing into Dragapult. Because then that means I can boss the Absol. And then Phantom Dive, set up the Kang for later. And go from there. So no, I'm pretty happy with this. You know, like, this is a pretty good board state right now. The only thing I'd want is another Drakloak. But still, you know, like, I'm pretty happy with this. This is looking pretty good for me. Of course, our opponent is not doing any actions. I think they're pretty annoyed that I just got a double candy off. They're not even going to do anything. Sure thing, my friend. Sure thing. Let's punish that profusely. And yep, there you go. That's what you get for slow playing. You did all that slow playing, and it got you nowhere. You could have swung, you know, you could have maybe taken that Budew, but you spent too much time wasting time. And, you know, we would have probably just bossed the Petrel or the Latias, obviously make his pivot a little bit harder. Just put damage counters on the Kang to the point where it could be knocked out by Munkidori, and then put the rest on the Absol, so it would be 3 to the Kang, 3 to the Absol, because then we can just, you know, Adrenabrain take out the Kang with, you know, in fact, no, we need 4 on the Kang, so we wouldn't have been able to take out multiple, you know, 3 prizes, but you know what? That went pretty well. Let's go to a game 3. I say game 3, I believe it's game 4. You know me. If you've been on this channel long enough, you know I lose track. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that went. That opponent was slow playing quite a lot, and you know they have a good time into us. You know, like they have options. You know, like that deck plays Clefairy. You know, there's obviously Absol, which can be quite a problem for me. You know, with sniping cards out my hand. You know, Kang's pretty tough. You know, it's just something that people don't realise, but then they just think because there's no report function on PTCG Live, there's no real, like, you know, disadvantage, so to speak. We're actually going to start the Torchic. And there's an Absol. Okay, that's fine by me. That's fine by me. I'm not mad about that at all. I'm just going to attach to the Torchic, and I will pass. If you know what I'm going to do this next turn, you're going to love it. That's for sure. That's if, obviously, they bench a relevant card to do it with. They're just going to immediately Crispin. Aye, sure. Grass and Dark, sure thing. Ultra Ball, getting rid of. So this is another Mega Box deck then. Ursaluna plus Area 0. And they're grabbing a Teal Mask. Sure thing, my friend. I'm not fussed. They get a Teal Dance. So we can do the play. It's a bit dumb, but, well, we might as well do it. They're going to get a turn 1 Claw Darkness off. Are you joking me? Jesus, that's immediate pressure. I wasn't expecting that, but that could be a problem for us. They're probably going to get rid of Meowth, but if so, I have Night Stretcher. And yeah, I have Night Stretcher, mate, so I'm not worried about that in the slightest. The fact that they just got a turn 1 Claw of Darkness is a concern, though. Because now we have to deal with immediate pressure, and that's kind of the thing that Pult doesn't like. So yeah, we're going to bench the Meowth. I don't know why he got rid of Meowth. Like, you know, you could have probably got rid of Candy. That would probably have been a better target. So we'll grab Lilies. I'll then Ultra Ball these two. Grab a Dreepy. Bench a Dreepy. Play the Lilies. That was immediate pressure. I was not expecting that. And that's kind of bad for us, because if they have Gust, we only have one Dreepy established. Or two, but we're going to lose one in a minute. Ugh, I don't know how to feel about that. I really don't know how to feel about that. Xerosic. Oh, that's just mean. So they're taking a knockout here, so I'll get rid of Boss plus... because I'm going to be stamping that. Well, I'm going to be Crispin stamping. Or Crispin stamping. I think I get rid of Drakloak. It's a risk, but I think I get rid of Drakloak. Because either way, if they take Petrel, that's fine, because I stamp you. Well, Lilies, I meant. Yeah, we're just going to stamp them, I think. That's my only option here. This is immediate pressure. Like, they're not even doing all that much anyway. Ooh, it's just a shame we don't have an energy. We could Petrel. Well, we could Petrel for a Rare Candy, and then attack with Dragapult now. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to play the Petrel. I'm gonna have to stamp them. Are you joking me? Stamp is prized, bro. This is the worst. I mean, I can hit them with Pult. Like, I can do that, but then I can just itchy pollen them. It's like, bro, what do I do here? This is so bad. This I didn't even check if Stamp was prized. That is so bad. Bro, this guy's had all the luck in the world. I mean, Xerosic, Crispin, Energy Switch, turn 1 Absol. Like, bro. Not many decks can stand up to a turn 1 Absol, especially Dragapult. I mean, on the positive side, he doesn't have any targets apart from Crispin, and I can afford to lose Crispin. I just need something. He's going to Adrenabrain, put it on the Pult. At least he can't Gust it this turn. That's the positive. But then all he needs is a Munkidori, and then he can... Another Munkidori, and then he can Terminal Period. Yeah, not a lot of decks... Like, I'm not blaming my deck in this case. You know, I can't simply stop turn 1 Mega Absol with Claw of Darkness. There's literally nothing I can do in that regard. That, however, it might just help, because I can get an attack off, so I need a fire. Because there's no point me grabbing back any other card. I just have to go for the risk and Phantom Dive. So we'll go for the Phantom Dive. I'm going to put 4 here to make them potentially move off of, you know, the Teal Mask. But if they have second Monkey plus, you know, Dark Energy, we just lose. There's no sugarcoating it. I'm really hoping he doesn't have that, but I'm not being funny. He had turn 1 Claw of Darkness. There's not many decks in the format that like that. You know, like Post Rotation Bolt maybe, but they have grass coverage into this, so it's like, what do I do here? There's a Meowth. Meowth's a problem. Brock Scouting, please do not tell me you have it. I will be pissed if you do. So they've got the monkey. They're going to Adrenabrain. Put it on the pult. Don't tell me you have E-Switch. Of course he does. Yeah, this guy's the main character. There's nothing I can do here. He's just going to Terminal Period my Dragapult. So yeah, I'm just going to scoop it up. What can I do against that? There is nothing I can do. Like, that is ridiculous. Turn 1 Mega Absol into turn 2 Mega Absol Claw of Darkness. There's nothing I can do there. That was wild. I've never seen a turn 1 Mega Absol done in post-rotation till now. So, yeah, that just completely cooked me. There was nothing I could do. You know, we'd lost a Dreepy. You know, just sniped a Meowth, which wasn't too relevant because obviously I had Night Stretcher. But, no, that was wild. And, I mean, I hope that opponent has a warm pillow tonight, is what I would normally say if I want to be a bit mean. But no, that was quite impressive. It's not very often you get to see, like, a turn 1 3 energy attack in the post-rotation format. That's, like, not easy to pull off. Especially with, you know, specifically requiring dark energy and stuff like that. That could be obviously quite awkward. But no, that was a loss that I'm pretty certain we all saw coming. So, what did I think to the deck? I don't think this deck is too bad. Like, I think it's a very good deck. It definitely has a lot of potential in the post-rotation format. Do I think it's going to be top dog? No. I think there's a few things that, you know, this deck sacrifices to accommodate for the chickens, that I think you'd just be better off playing either straight pull or Pult Noir or Pult Terror Box. You know, with the Pult Terror Box, especially my version that I did on my channel, you know, you have those extra lines of grass attackers, obviously the Wellspring, the Clefairy, the Moltres, you know, the Iron Leaves as well is another thing that my list has compared to others. You know, if I was playing Pult Terror Box and I had, you know, a Toolmass down, and I was accelerating grass, which the deck does do, you know, to some extent, and obviously playing a Crispin to count, I could have easily just bonked their Mega Absol with Iron Leaves and watched them cry. But, you know, like, Absol's just a really strong card, and if you can get it going turn 1 like that opponent did, not really any deck in the format can stand up to it. But honestly, though, I think this deck is fine, like, with the build that I went with. I don't think anything needs to change about it. I think it's just a case of, you know, the consistency is something that you need to look at. You know, like, you need to decide what would you rather trade for a bit of consistency and stuff like that. The attackers, I think, are fine. You know, double Budew, I think, is more than fair. But at the same time, you have to think, what am I really getting from the Blaziken package? Because the thing is with the Blaziken package is it obviously gives you fire-type coverage. But the problem is, the only Pokemon that comes to mind that Blaziken would, like, one-shot completely without an issue, you know, aside from, obviously, Toolmass Gogapon, is, you know, Mega Venusaur and Meganium, Arboliva, you know, things like that. But Pult's fine into those anyway, you know? Like, why would we add a Blaziken package when we can add a Dusknoir package and improve our matchup? You know, we could have easily just gone Dusknoir onto the Absol, nuke their Absol, spread damage onto their board, put 4 on the Steel Mask, and then obviously the rest on the Munkidori. And then what can they do? They literally can't do anything after that. And when you think about the Pult Terror Box version, you know, like I said, the version that I did anyway, obviously I have Iron Leaves and Toolmass Gogapon in my list, so I can get immediate pressure on, bonking them with Iron Leaves. And, you know, there's a lot to consider, but personally, if I was to take a Dragapult deck post-rotation to a regional, it would either be Terror Box or Dusknoir. I'm not sold on Straight Pult yet. I've not played too much Straight Pult, but either the Terror Box version, specifically my version, because I'm pretty confident with that version, or the Dusknoir version, I think would be the best ones to play, even post-rotation. And that's just my opinion, really. So as per usual, we are obviously going to be going on to, you know, 4 gameplay videos in a week. I do hope you enjoy the extra time that I'm putting into this channel. Obviously, I did go for a stage of doing 5, but I think 4 is a good middle ground because, you know, originally I'm doing 3 regular gameplays and then obviously Sibling Sunday. But yeah, we're going to be going up to 4. I think it'll be more than manageable because obviously I don't really have many hours at work at the minute. So, you know, I can easily put more time into the channel. And well, why not? Because obviously we've hit 100 subscribers. Let's see how more we can get. So like I say, if you're obviously watching the channel and made it this far, feel free to spread the channel across to your mates and stuff like that. Obviously get some more subscribers and all that jazz. Because I really do appreciate the 100 that have obviously, you know, subscribed and everything like that. all the commenters, you know, all the likes and everything like that, and even those who are calling me the GOAT for doing post-rotation Rotom box. But anyway, I really appreciated that. Anywho, I'm going to leave it all to it for today because this outro section has gone on a little bit too long for my liking, and I'll see you next time.